So now it is time for our next heat, qualification heat that is, for Senior Max, Groups B and C. And it looks like the grid is as follows. Ilian Brunsils and Charlie Turner on the front row, with Patrick Rundqvist from Sweden having Clayton Ravenscroft alongside for company on row number 2. Mads Ries and Ben Donkin, row 3. Jason Lockwood and Mick Knowlton on row 4. Andreas Herbert and Dylan LaHaye ran out the top 10, ahead of Emily de Hoys, Lorenzo Stolk, Felix Jansson, Rick Boothon, Samuel Harrison, Kian Sang, Arthur Roche, Alex Pendlebury, Henri Young, Nick van der Mosselaar, Vincent van Kerkhoven, Georges Bersis, Anthony Overbeek, Alexander Luck, Clementine Benoit, Victor Plateau, Fabian Bock, Brent Verheyen, Antoine Antier, and Victor Paulsen from Denmark, rounding out the 30 strong in this qualification heat. Again, as with the juniors, it will be another 7 minutes plus 1 lap encounter as they now go onto the formation lap. There's quite a few quick pedalers in the first few rows, and probably a few a little bit further down the order. So with 30 Senior Max drivers in this particular qualification heat, hoping to ensure, because this will be the end of the Group B contingent competing in the qualifying heat, so they've got to make it count this time around. So the top 28 will go through to the Senior Max top 36 race at the end of the day. For those wondering about the timetable, we do not have a prize giving ceremony at 5:15. That will be happening tomorrow at around that time, and we'll make a call out tomorrow evening, tomorrow afternoon when the podium is due. We will keep reminding you via our social media channels and also via the tannoy whilst I'm on commentary. So top 10, it's Ilian Brunsils with Charlie Turner on the front row. Patrick Rundqvist and Clayton Ravenscroft, row 2. Mads Ries, Ben Donkin, row 3, sorry. Jason Lockwood and Mick Knowlton, row 4. And Andreas Herbert and Dylan LaHaye rounding out the top 10. Red lights on the starting gantry. We're about to set the timer to 7 minutes plus an additional lap. Are we ready to go racing? Lights out and off they go, heading into turn 1. And it's 3 abreast at the lower part of the top 10. With, looks like the likes of Knowlton, De Hoys, Dylan LaHaye, some drivers going wide. They can do this on the first lap on the runoff area coming out of turn 2. And it's 2 abreast going through turn 5, I think, round about sort of 13th, 14th position. And someone's very opportunistic and has just made up 3 places round the outside of turn 6. Where did that come from? And we've had a melee in the midst of all that with one driver very, very slow and actually parking it at turn 6. So it must have been at least 3 or 4 carts involved. There are 3 stragglers a bit further back. So meanwhile, at the front of the field, it looks like, well, Charlie Turner's hit the front with Brunsils behind. Mads Ries now jumps up from 5th to 3rd position. Patrick Rundqvist, and looks also like Andreas Herbert from France rounds out the top 6. This is how close it's going to get. It is going to be close quarter combat with wheels on it as they head through turn 3, 4, and 5. Brunsils coming under scalding pressure as Mads Ries goes back up the inside of him into turn 6. Brunsils returns the favour immediately and did not give the Dane chance to breathe there. They head through turn 7. And I'm just thinking, I think I can see Dylan LaHaye, but Mick Knowlton in the meantime has dropped all the way down to 15th. So with that melee of Senior Max carts heading in via the runoff area and everywhere else on the asphalt heading into turn 3 earlier, it's caused Mick a bit of a compromise there, but he's behind Arthur Roche, so he's got past Emily de Hoys for 14th. And I think he's also got, yes, he's got past Arthur Roche, I think, on the final corner. Is that Emily de Hoys going up the inside of the Frenchman? I think that very much could be the case. Or could that be Alex Pendlebury? I'm not too sure. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, the top 3 are starting to make a getaway. With, oh no, that's disaster for one kart. And that is the 348. That is the 348 of Ben Donkin, who was spat out, I think. I couldn't really quite see that. I missed that completely. But he was 90 degrees to the right on the straight between turns 6 and 7. That's really compromised his run, and he started up in 6th position and was holding station. But he's got back underway. Meanwhile, both Charlie Turner and Ilian Brunstils are trying to pull a gap on the driver in 3rd position, which continues to be Denmark's Mads Riis, accrediting himself very well in both OK and also now Senior Max. A very credible young junior last season. Had a chat with him at the kickoff 4 weeks ago, and he was really looking forward to the challenge. So he's got 2 challenges. Like Jules Castro, he's racing in 2 different categories this weekend, so it's double the track time, but also helps with double the preparation, so to speak. So Turner continues to lead from Brunstils, Mads Riis, who's got Andreas Herbert, who's now behind. So the Frenchman now up into 4th position. Good running by the 327. Patrick Rundqvist, in the meantime, rounds out the top 5 ahead of Clayton Ravenscroft, who's made some moves back up the order. So maybe he might have lost out on the very first couple of corners on the first lap when it went 3 abreast going into turn number 3. As Dylan LaHaye absolutely steals a march. That might have been on Jason Lockwood going into turn 2. Nice work by the Belgian. And Charlie Turner has got Ilian Brunstils for company on the run down from turn 6 to 7. Brunstils is within half a kart length as they head in to the sweeper at turn number 8. So it's Turner from Brunstils, from Riis, Andreas Herbert in 4th position with Rundqvist and Ravenscroft, or has there been a positional change? Yes, there has. So Clayton Ravenscroft now up into 5th. So Rundqvist is going to quickly come under fire from Dylan LaHaye. And then you've got Jason Lockwood behind them. You've got, I think that's the 393 of Rick Boothorn there. So Lockwood down into 8th position with Lorenzo Stolk from the Netherlands rounding out the top 10 as the move has happened. Brunstils takes the lead from Charlie Turner on that last tour. 2 minutes plus an additional lap. Turner is trying to mount a fight back on the Belgian in the 3:08 as they come through turn number 9. We've got 2 retirements, unfortunately, with Georgios Beresis from Greece and Brent Verheyen from Belgium no longer taking any part in this. They actually didn't even make it past the end of the first lap, I believe. And hang on, is that a chain guard I see? Has someone lost a chain guard, possibly? Looks very... Oh, 385's just pulled in. And that is Felix Jansson from Sweden. So whether that might have been his chain guard, not too sure. But whoever is running out on circuit and has no chain guard will get a black flag, as Mick Knowlton is trying to get past Lorenzo Stolk, I believe, for position. And goes side by side, up the inside, tries muscles past, going through turn number 6. So Mick Knowlton making a resurgence, back up from 15th to now what is 11th place, as we go into the last minute of this second qualifying heat for the Senior Max division, groups B and C. So Brunstils from Turner, Mads Riis. Clayton Ravenscroft has now got past Andreas Herbert from France. So the Brit now, who's shown what he is capable of. If anyone remembers at the season finale last year, his double overtake round the outside of turn 12 needed to be seen to be believed. Dylan LaHaye now in 6th position ahead of Patrick Rundqvist. And looks like, has there been more changes? Mick Knowlton up into 10th now, having got past Lorenzo Stolk. So it's Brunstils from Turner, Riis, Ravenscroft, Herbert, LaHaye, Rundqvist, Lockwood, Boothorn, and Mick Knowlton now rounding out the top 10. So it's this plus one more lap. Brunstils is still being kept, I think, very honest by Charlie Turner as they come through turn 10 for the penultimate time in this race. Ravenscroft is trying to close the gap to Mads Riis. Last time around it was half a second. It's going to be probably at least 3/10, I think, by my reckoning. And it's under 3/10. So, and he's right on the back bumper of the Dane going through turn 3. So, who's not to say that Clayton Ravenscroft could on the last lap, if he gives it all. No, he's got the place. He's got the place off of Mads Rees going through turn 6. That caught the Dane napping there. And in all of this, Andreas Herbert is now embroiled in this battle. Dylan LaHaye's also latched onto the tail end of this and is trying to go up the inside of the Frenchman on the exit of turn 8. Couldn't quite make it work. Meanwhile, the two leaders coming through. Charlie Turner won't have a response for Ilian Brunsils. But who's going to take third? Ravenscroft is in prime position to do so. Head of Mads Rees, Andreas Herbert and Dylan LaHaye. Patrick Rundqvist not that far behind. Oh, Dylan LaHaye goes up the inside of Andreas Herbert on the final corner to snatch 5th place. But Ilian Brunsils wins the second qualifying heat here in Senior Max at the first round of the BNL Karting Series season. Ahead of Britain's Charlie Turner. Nice work by Clayton Ravenscroft to steal one off of Mads Rees on the final lap. Dylan LaHaye, ever the opportunist. Nice work to get past Andreas Herbert ever so cleanly there on the final corner with Patrick Rundqvist, Jason Lockwood, Mick Knowlton and Rick Boothorn rounding out the top 10. I knew there was going to be a battle coming from somewhere, and it just so happened that Clayton Ravenscroft went, yep, hands up, be like always the first one in class to put his hand up, but he clearly did that in terms of overtaking. But Ilian Brunsils takes the win ahead of Charlie Turner. Clayton Ravenscroft rounds out the top 3 ahead of Mads Rees, with Dylan LaHaye rounding out the top 5. Andreas Herbert was 6th ahead of Patrick Rundqvist, Jason Lockwood, Mick Knowlton and Rick Boothorn, who completed the top 10. We also had Alex Pendlebury in 11th ahead of Lorenzo Stolk. Artur Horsch finished in 13th ahead of Sam Harrison, with Nick van der Mosselaar rounding out the top 15. Emily de Hoys finished in 16th ahead of Alexander Luck, Kian Sang, Henri Young, Victor Plateau, Victor Paulsen, Antoine Antier, Ben Donkin, who recovered from that nasty spin on the middle of the back straight, which put him into oncoming traffic. Anthony Overbeek, Fabian Bock, Vincent van Kerkhoven and Clementine Benoit were the last of the 27 classified finishers, with Felix Janssen pulling it into the pits on lap 5, with Georges Bersis and Brent Verheyen not even finishing the very first lap.